Hey guys! We are live. Okay, welcome back to the...
Yeah, that's about it. That's about right.
Oh, there's the thunder again. Cool.
Yep, we're on brand. Woo.
Is that the actual intro, or was that a warm-up?
No, we're live
No,
right
we're
now.
live.
They can,
Yeah.
this is a very well put together show.
We're
as you
starting
can
off
see.
strong.
Aidan is repping the whitest thing I've ever seen. Good Lord, Episcopal Academy water polo.
It is my school. It is the sport I played at that school. I don't know what to tell you.
It was the only sport that would accept openly gay players at the time.
Huh?
What? I don't know. I'm making things up.
Naturally.
Probably gonna get canceled for that.
You're not already canceled?
Shocking. All right. So anyway, this is the Lorelai official podcast. We are live with our boy Wendigoon over here.
Thank God.
You wanna say hi to the people?
Yeah, hello everybody. I was here a while back, but if you didn't see me then this may be your first time meeting me. I am Wendigoon. I do creepy stuff on YouTube, and a lot of it in the same vein as Aidan does on TikTok. The only difference is I now have definitely the cooler hair.
That's true. and also the facial hair.
Easily.
I'm jealous. We're going on about 2 weeks of growth right here.
It's the downside is that your facial hair is kind of like, it's almost like blondish.
Yeah, right?
It fits.
I dyed it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't actually.
But that's funny. It fits.
Are you doing No Shave November?
Now you're really going full Sugar Ray. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. What do you think?
I don't know.
You're gonna do it?
Yeah, I'm gonna look terrible.
I'll try. I can't grow hair, but it's fun. We'll give it a go.
So just to really quick go through some news and announcements for the show. This is our last episode in my parents' basement.
No, it's just last episode.
This is our last episode.
We're done.
That's all. Goodbye.
Yep,
we brought Isaiah on to say that he's Wendigoon and then leave.
He's actually taking over the channel.
So I bought them out.
It was at auction. It was
an incredibly high amount of $6. We couldn't believe it.
I literally just had to tell Aidan that I'd let him touch a Wendigo, and that's all it took.
Yeah.
I sent him a picture of antlers, and he said you can have it.
I had no idea. Isaiah's just got like an alpaca farm in the back, but it's all Wendigos.
Mm-hmm.
Just at his
Don't call them llamas.
at his Appalachian compound.
Yeah, there's one trick that every homeowner association.
That is something I want to address while we're here. Who are you calling?
No, someone's trying to call me.
Being called.
Yes.
Okay. It's just the stream issues that we're having with Discord right now. Like, you just nobody can see this but us, but you're like vibrating like just back.
That's what I look like.
You look like a rapidly gyrating Jesus bobblehead right now.
Just means my bones are hatching. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Wait a second. No, we're not going to gloss over that one.
Bones are hatching. All right, so that's what. Wait, you're from Tennessee, right?
Yes.
How do you pronounce the mountain range?
Appalachia.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's Tennessee.
Do you get violently angry when people pronounce it Appalachia?
Right, so here is a this is to tell you like how big of a deal it is. I live in Tennessee, but my family's from Kentucky, and the short version that doesn't cause too many implications is my father and grandfather were part of a lot of crime industries in the mountains of Kentucky, around like the Harlan area.
I love how you're just like, yeah, my grandfather and my dad were hardcore criminals.
Well,
do you have a story time on that?
Yes, maybe. I've told parts of it on some stuff. But anyway,
the show Moonshiners is about my family.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's okay. Aidan and I were featured on Amish Mafia.
Oh wait, is just suggested new T-shirt. My bones are hatching.
My bones are hatching.
That would be a great new T-shirt. Anyway, so sorry. Back to your delinquent
continue.
family.
You come from a line of degenerates.
Right. So with those degenerates, there were several federal investigators who'd be implanted around them, and one of their tests, that if they were first meeting someone to talk to them, there's a parkway nearby called Appalachia Blue State. It was like this little park or whatever. So he'd ask, they'd work it into conversation, and if the guy said Appalachia, that guy's out. He's a Fed. He's not from around here. Do not talk to him. He's out of the loop.
Well, I mean,
these guys come and say they're from the region, and then they say Appalachia. They're like, nope, out. That guy's a Fed. So,
I love how
this is by the way, like I've had so many people yell at me that I'm pronouncing it wrong on the internet.
Yeah.
The fact that I would come across as a Fed is what's going to get me to say it the right way.
Wait,
it's Appalachia now.
No.
I'm in. I am on the bandwagon.
You know my favorite thing is though. Is that is a third way to pronounce it that I just heard.
Appalachia.
Because
That's
usually
wrong.
Appalachia that I hear up around here.
Yeah. Appalachia and Appalachia are acceptable. Appalachia is
that just sounds
that's not right.
That's a whole new level of
Appalachian-
wrong.
It's the Appalachian Mountains. Because the further you go south, the less syllables there are. You just run over them as fast as you can. So it's like Appalachia. It's just the P's, the L's, and the ch. That's it.
By the time you're down at the bottom, it's just
Yeah. Well, have you talked to people from Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah. They just forgot.
Okay, but Floridians are weird because like northern Florida is like the deep south. And then southern Florida, like Clearwater, is Philadelphia.
Well, it's like Dante's Inferno.
There's so many Philly people
you
in
go
South Florida.
All the way through hell, you get to heaven, right? So it's like
I thought you were gonna say if you go all the way through hell, you get to Florida. It's like
my implication is that the retirement homes down in Destin are like purgatory compared to northern Florida. Like that's the ninth layer they had to crawl through.
So wait, is heaven at the top or bottom of Florida? Because that means Key West is either the best.
Isaiah just found out this past month that Dante's Inferno was part of a 3-part series, so let's not push it too hard.
I'll admit. Yeah.
Isaiah, don't worry. When it makes you feel any better, I just learned 30 seconds ago that Dante's Inferno was part of a 3-part series, so you're fine.
Man, see, there you go. Not everyone has a medieval history major.
Correct.
It is crazy how like that's something we can talk about. That's a great subject. We totally had a plan for this, by the way. If you're watching, this absolutely was not.
We've actually done 3 different.
Disaster. I was not restringing a guitar 5 minutes ago.
No.
Aidan definitely didn't ask me what I want to talk about.
This did not happen.
That's not what happened.
To be fair, I got the text last night that you were coming on.
All right, I'll give you that one.
I had a whole plan that involved, a monologue about Freemasonry and other things, and
I'm not going to stop you.
You've just ruined it completely.
All right,
we can talk about Freemasonry because
Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for
Bye.
That's actually something we'd easily talk about because I'm sure you've encountered the Illuminati and Freemason and Bohemian Grove stuff on your own.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Never heard of that. Elaborate.
Who was it that just said that? It was Zeus who said, "Not the end of hell is the border to Ohio."
It's true. Oh my god.
Also, Wendigo Mafia is now a thing that's happening in the chat.
All right, good. That's
Wendigo Mafia.
as it should be. Bones hatching, Wendigo Mafia. We always get good content on this show.
Just so many one-liners.
Yeah,
it's great.
it's
But anyway,
beautiful.
so what's that thing you spent 5 minutes trying to transition to, but we still haven't started it yet?
Female? What?
No, you've been doing that for longer than 5 minutes.
Spent 5 minutes on it. Decided it was not worth the pain. All right. What was I trying to transition to? The Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso.
In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Rex Fiestia in pace. So I think the one to talk about, probably the one people are most familiar with, is the Inferno here. And one thing I think that has been interesting to me growing up is how much things like the Inferno and Paradise Lost and some of these like biblical adjacent works of fiction end up influencing what people think actual Christianity's doctrine and lore are. And obviously you're very into the biblical discussion and teaching young children about Jesus on Sundays. So what we're reading through, I assume you've read the Inferno recently for
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I read it. Probably was read it a month ago.
Yeah, what do you think some of the most striking things about it were, like finding it and being like, well, that's not actually what the Bible says?
So there's already some automatic differences because, like, I'm Baptist, or more specifically, just like I guess you could say remnant church, like just Bible teachings of Paul and all that. But like Dante was written from the point of view of Catholicism, so there's already some differences between like baptized babies and things to do with that I'm not that familiar with, so I can't really speak on. But there's so many interesting concepts for the time that are far different from anything that's really believed now. Some examples of that was like whenever Dante got down to the final layer of hell in the 9th layer, there was these people who said that whenever they commit a sin that's worthy of being put in the 9th layer, or in other words, for treason, different crimes of treason, that whenever they commit it, their soul is immediately sucked to hell and a demon inhabits their body. And like, that's not biblical or anything at all. It's really cool though. That's a pretty wild concept. But
you get one sin and then immediately straight to hell.
Yes, just straight to hell immediately. You're now a demon ship for the rest of your mortal life.
You undercook fish, straight to hell. You overcook
Pretty
chicken,
much, yeah.
straight to hell. Yeah.
Believe it or not, hell.
Yeah. I think.
But yeah,
like
no. You go ahead.
One of my I think one of the immediate ones that struck me was the idea of virtuous pagans, and the concept that like if you were never introduced to Christianity, then you're automatically in a weird limbo state where you're in like the first circle and like as if it's your fault. But if you actually read through the book, it kind of like the Bible itself, it has a much more nuanced view of accepting Christianity and salvation and all of that. It's not just like if you were never introduced to Christianity, then automatically you go to hell. It's like much more complicated than that.
Yeah, I think about
just a quick thing.
No, go ahead.
Is that number one? So the reason I did that was because everybody was complaining that Isaiah sounded really quiet, so I fixed that.
Okay,
but they also saw your Halloween costume in our thing there, the army.
Oh, the airsoft getup.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a classic.
Yeah.
We used to be big into airsoft.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, more so paintball for me.
Yeah, I almost broke some limbs playing airsoft once.
Good lord.
Just out in the Poconos, yeah. Anyway, we were at Skirmisher Poco Loco. What a time.
Anyway,
it's great training.
So I just wanted to like let him know why I was doing that and
you're good.
Explain the questions that people were asking about his costume. That was a picture in group chat.
I am not a Fed.
Even though he says Appalachia.
I was just gonna say, it's like, so what mountains do we live in?
What's the Mount Range?
Just before I get canceled to address it, I was not in the Capitol on January 6th. I was actually in Joe Biden's bedroom.
Oh.
I was rescuing 72 children from Joe Biden's bedroom.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So, anyway, Isaiah, what were you going to say about Dante's Inferno?
That was like 3 bamboozles getting reversed back and forth. Good stuff.
He got hit everything at once.
Bamboozled.
Well, what I was going to say is you were talking about the Bible has a much more nuanced approach to the idea of paganism.
Yeah.
When it comes to religion and all that. And the verse I always think about is in Romans whenever Peter is talking. Look, why does it look like I have like girl's hair? That was weird. Anyway,
because your hair's long.
It do be long.
Long, luscious.
Whenever, sometimes like I love it, but then sometimes it kind of looks like a Karen cut, and it hurts me in the soul.
Please tell me you went as Lord Farquaad for Halloween, for the love of God.
I didn't go as anything because there wasn't really any place to go.
To be fair,
because my girlfriend was taken up, and I live in the middle of nowhere, so. But I will do that eventually just for you. But anyway, in the book of Romans, whenever it's talking about Paul is explaining to the Christians in Rome about what they're called to do, because the Romans were talking about, well, we need to go out and do that. And he's explaining that it's their mission field. And Paul tells them, that those who have faith in the Creator, because I forget the exact setup, but they're asking something to the effect of, what if those who have never heard the word? And Paul says those who have faith in the Creator. And I've always took that to mean that God, it's not like God is, for one, merciful. When it comes to situations like that, it's not, exactly the way we need it to be all the time. And I feel like he's much more lenient with it, which is what was interesting in Dante's Inferno about that, the idea of righteous pagans.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the more complex facets of the Bible as a whole is, what of people who have not been involved, and especially in the Old Testament where you've got Jews are God's chosen people, and what does that mean for everybody else? Is everybody else doomed to, and also that Jews don't really have the same concept of hell that Christians have. That's a common misconception. They're just like, hey, there's a black abyss that you go to when you die, and we call it Sheol. So I had a lot of conversations with my theology professors about that. I was like, so just is there anything? And they were like, it's not really discussed. And I was like, okay, well, I guess, not sure. I do wonder, it's kind of an interesting dichotomy because as a practicing Christian, I get to that point where I'm like, so we get to the New Testament period and God's like, all right, so I've decided to be merciful, but if you decide to reject my mercy, I've added this lake of fire to the canon. He's just moving his pieces around on the chessboard. He's like, so we're gonna up the mercy. We're gonna roll a 20 on mercy, and then we're gonna also roll 7 dice on eternal fire and brimstone.
It's like it's the middle road is getting boring. I need some extremes in my life.
Yeah.
Or I guess my existence.
God in the New Testament is absolutely radical.
Oh, yes. Are you ready?
There's going to be another... It would have been great if the thunder thing came on just then.
That's what I was expecting. That's what I thought he meant.
Let me ask you this, since you introduced it since you brought up God's ego death. How do you feel about...
So I guess he has also tried DMT.
How do you feel about the idea that within the Old Testament, in the Old Testament there were several different groups of people that God ordered them to wipe out. Yeah, there's a few people, but there was these groups that God said essentially wipe off the earth.
The Canaanites, the Moabites, the Philistines,
Moabites and all that. Yeah. All right. So how here comes my part. You know how with the Canaanites and stuff, it mentions concepts of them being giant people, and then with the Philistines, they have their giants and all that. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the concept that the people that God ordered to wipe out were descendants of Nephilim?
Oh, I'm 100% on board with that explanation.
As soon as you said giants, I knew where he was going with that. So,
yeah. But it's also kind of the only way that really aggressive attitude that that the Old Testament God takes towards the Moabites, the Canaanites, the Philistines, everything. It's the only way it makes sense. Is that. Yeah. This is not something he sanctioned. God loves all his children except these ones. It's no, God loves all his children except the ones that come from unholy unions between angels and human beings, and those ones are bad.
Yeah, which that concept in itself is wild enough in its own right. But what's also interesting is and again, using slightly extracurricular stuff, like the Book of Enoch,
right,
where it talks about how the descendants, these Nephilim, the descendants of angels and man, how they learned witchcraft and they communed with strange spirits. Mm-hmm. As it says, and they learned, it says that they're the ones who taught sorcery and black magic to man. Mm-hmm. It's that. For one, these are wild enough concepts in their own right. But it gives a lot more credence to, like you said, the God of mercy also being they'll just get out. Get rid of those quick.
This was not permitted.
Fair. Just popping into chat real quick. Glass is thanking us for giving her so many followers just because of this. So
we gave her followers?
Yeah, because she's she's part of the show now.
Oh, essentially. Yeah.
Also, Zeus is saying I'm a confirmed Nephilim, and I'm not sure why. So...
What?
What does that mean?
I don't know. That's why I figured I'd pose the question.
What's
Why
your
would-
address, sir? Just gonna leave it in
We've got-
Aidan, we just want to talk.
We just want to talk.
Don't worry about it.
Loads
Oh,
rifle
God.
off screen. There is not a rifle off screen.
Everything is fine.
For those of you concerned.
Yeah. I guarantee you I'm not, considering I'm the shortest person in this conversation.
Hey,
What?
I was.
Nephilim
I
would
am
be giant,
related.
wouldn't they? Yes.
What?
No, I was just saying I am related, if by like third cousins, to the tallest man who ever lived, like at least in recent times. So if anyone's qualified to talk about giants, it's me, because
You've got a very interesting family dynamic going
So
on
you're
here.
the Nephilim man.
Oh, but man, I tell you what, it'd be some creepy stuff. By God, I tell you what, good Lord, Appalachia, by God.
My dad and my grandfather were, moonshiners, and also, ran the Tennessee Mafia, and my uncle was a giant.
All right, hold on. Let me explain you something about moonshiners. Right? Moonshiners are here, like every girl has ever dated, their dad moonshines. Like it's just a thing people do for a hobby. Everyone's got a skill on their property.
It's not
They got
illegal
more than
unless you
20
sell
acres.
it, right?
I forgot.
Well, yeah, but you see, that's
Okay, I see what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You just completely
Yes.
reminded me that my great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather did that. My great-great-grandfather was the one who made and sold illegal alcohol during the during Prohibition.
The only one.
And the way he
He was the only one?
He was the only one. But the way he did it was because his wife made and sold bread. And so in the community, my great-grandfather, when he was like 12, would go around giving to sell bread to people, but he'd actually have a bunch of illegal alcohol with him as well. So he'd go around being the mule, essentially, at 12 years old, selling bread from his mom and booze from his dad. What a great concept.
You just cut the bread open, hollow it out, and stick the bottle in there, and then put it back
Well,
together.
no, because I want the actual bread, too. It was good bread.
Get that bread. Bread.
Hey, that Mountain Dew, man, I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of people die over that, by God, down here in Appalachia. What?
When I was seeing
I'm going to set
Antlers
your
last night,
ringtone to...
I want an alarm that's just you talking like that for 5 minutes.
My ringtone for him now...
Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
No, I'm going to set my ringtone for you to be... oh, God, what's that one song? It's the song about running... alcohol and drugs through the different generations. The Copperhead Road. There we go.
Run guns.
I'm gonna set your
Never
ringtone to top
Born
of
on Copperhead Road.
Yes.
That's a good song, yeah.
It's such a good song.
We have got. How did we get from the Bible to this?
Did we expect anything else? I mean, and this is the most viewers we've had in a while.
Are you
too.
serious?
It's 51 right
Oh
now.
my God, that's peak viewers. That of course it is. That's how it goes.
Fantastic. No, that's exactly what I want. Look, I love whenever someone joins and it's nothing put together. It's just me talking about what are we even talking about? Moonshine and giants or whatever right now? That's perfect. I love it.
Moonshine Giants and Dante.
Which
What a
could be a
combo.
book. I like that.
Right?
That's a good title. I like to roll with that.
Write it, and we'll just put a picture of us in the middle of the book, like we're gonna do with you, that just says no for just no,
No.
just simply us staring at the camera, and it just says no.
What's this transition?
There are no transitions. Just say what you want to talk about.
So I do want to talk the one of the chapters in your latest YouTube video. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head, but one of the titles is very aggressively anti-ocean.
Oh, let's go.
And I want to know where this came from.
I'm glad people noticed that.
From somebody who
I
loves
thought
the
it
ocean, I
just
can't
looked
wait to hear.
over
Yeah, I want to hear where did this come from? Why were you you know what needs to be made a video
My
on-
hatred of the ocean or my
Yeah.
video about it?
Why do you
my
hate
hatred in
the
general? Oh,
why do you
boy.
hate the ocean?
All right, so the majority of fear comes from stuff like fear of the unknown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is, and Okay, there's a reason in the 1950s NASA launched one probe underwater and went, that's too hard, and then they started trying to get off the planet. Like, they sent a camera down there. It's like, yes, we can do space travel this year. That'll be fine. We'll get out of here. But unironically, like, it is the most unclaimable, like forever unclaimable aspect of human life. Like, we're talking about colonizing the moon and Mars now, right? Yeah. But there is no feasible way to colonize the ocean in any regard because it's completely inhospitable. At least, like, you can't breathe in space, but you can walk and you can see. The ocean doesn't let you do either of those things either.
Well, not
and
that
any
attitude.
second, yeah.
I'm taking this as a challenge. We have to do. Lore Lodge 2.0 is going to be at the bottom of the ocean.
That's a terrible idea.
That's a fantastic idea.
Really
oh my God! There's the thunder.
That means it was a great idea.
Here comes the thunderclap.
Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, but just like the idea that as far as the unknowns go, it is the unknowable. There is no way that we will forever be able to chart all of it. Even with modern technology, as vast as it is, we're still guessing at what the majority of the wildlife in it is. And the two possibilities is either 80% of it is a completely black void with no existent life in it, or creatures so large and adapted to the pressure that they work as super predators within it. Both are terrible. Both are the worst possible scenario, and there's no good way to come out of it. I remember as a kid, I always had, this is also a part of it, I always had a sort of like megaphobia fear bit, like impossibly large.
Fear of the large?
Like that. Yeah, fear of the large, basically. Not like, just like large, not like this can is slightly above average normal cans, therefore I'm scared of it.
Absolutely
like,
terrified of Big Macs.
It's yeah, stuff like that.
Only eats Whopper Juniors.
No, please, Aidan, continue.
Sorry.
no, you got more in there.
Keep coming. Got some non-family friendly ones as well.
That'll be for the after.
Let's just keep going on this.
Okay, I'm going to keep going.
No, but I'm curious. Like, define large as in like.
So megaphobia in particular
5'7" and above
is like the fear. Thank you. It's the fear of like things that are so large that you can't comprehend it or you can't really grasp the size of it. Like whenever you read in old stories and things like that of creatures that like their head goes above the clouds as they stomp around on earth, things like that, things that are so big you can't really put your mind to it. I remember as a kid, I used to have this weird fear, like whenever I would lay out on the grass on a clear day and I'd lay there and I would just kind of try to think about the sky as a thing and how large it was, and I had this like weird fear of like sort of slipping off the earth and falling into the sky. And I think that's what spurred as a child, I had these dreams where I'd be like in the ocean and there'd be something moving just beyond my range of view that was like the size of the ocean itself. It was like a great beast that was inside of it. And that definitely didn't help with my feelings regarding it.
No, I cannot imagine it would.
Yeah, as far as like, for something like that to exist, it'd have to be within the ocean. And what's so awful about the ocean is that if it does or if it doesn't, we would never know because life wouldn't change one way or the other. Like with all the stuff that me and you talk about and even potentially believe in, like, you know, Wendigos and cryptids and other things of that nature. In some regard, that would change some aspects of living. If it was a known fact that they were true, it changed different things around it. If today we were to find out that there is a 10-mile long sea serpent at the bottom of the ocean, it doesn't change anything because it could have been there the whole time. It could always be there. And it's just like, yeah, it's just like the unknowable that bothers me about it. So yeah, right. I hate it. I hate it so much.
That's, I mean, it makes sense. I can't blame you for having that fear though.
It is like, big, and therefore I am terrified.
Yeah, it's
also,
like
Aidan,
it's
did you plug
the
the
big.
computer in?
Yeah, it's plugged in.
It's plugged in.
But you know,
to the outlet.
Hey,
okay, just making sure because we had this.
Mr. Medieval History. Mr. Medieval History. Which emperor was that who had his army stab the ocean?
I think that was
Caligula.
That was Nero, I think. It was either Nero or Caligula. I can't remember which one particularly.
Yeah, but, I hate both of them. I think it was people, but I would do that.
I think it was Caligula who appointed his horse to be a senator.
That's right. Yeah.
There's also the story about Nero playing the fiddle while Rome burned, but Nero wasn't actually in the city at the time, nor was the fiddle invented.
Yeah, but it's a cool story.
It's a really
Wasn't
opposite
Nero-
of the devil went
cool
down to
idea.
Georgia.
I don't remember much about Nero because I never really studied Rome that much in school, and outside of school I just was focused on other things, but I want to learn more about Rome. Wasn't Nero like a really controversial emperor?
Yeah. One way to put it.
Like I said, I know very little.
Controversial. You mean that he lit his garden with burning Christians? It's like he had his issues. Nobody's perfect, you know.
You know what? When you run out of tiki fuel, you need something to like fill in the gaps.
You know how historically the Jews get blamed for a lot of things?
Yeah.
Well, Nero basically took that same concept and was like, well, what if we did it to Christians too?
Yeah.
And so Rome having a massive fire, Christians, plagues, Christians. He also, there's some writings from like him and his officers, and this is several Roman emperors actually, believe it or not, who they're like discussing Christianity, and they're like, there is a sect of Jewish cannibals in the city because they didn't understand the whole the Eucharist. This is my body, this is my blood. And it didn't help that early Christians also were really dead set on like, this is the body and the blood. Like it undergoes a physical transformation into the body and blood of Christ. So they didn't do a very good job communicating that aspect with non-Christians, but also in the city of Rome during the time of Nero, it was really not safe to be a Christian. That's one of the reasons why the early symbol of Christianity was the fish. It was an easy symbol to draw somewhere, and it kind of it could also denote direction. So you could tell people where a church was by drawing a series of fish along the walls, and the Roman guards would not see the fish and be like, that's a bunch of people worshiping Jesus. They'd be like, why does everyone in the city like fish so much?
You gotta wonder how they didn't just like have someone ask.
I'm sure they did, but you gotta remember the internet wasn't around that. It's not like you had Facebook and a bunch of Roman guards being all like
Excuse me.
FBI going into Facebook groups and being like, "How do you do, fellow revolutionaries?"
We need to put an asterisk on that. That's actually it's meta now.
Oh my god, meta, which of course is Hebrew for dead.
Yeah, all the Roman soldiers going to churches, and the pastors are like, "Hey, pronounce Appalachia." That's what's really interesting about reading Romans, because all the other like letters of Paul to the churches, like to Corinth and Ephesus, he's like, you guys are doing so great in the soul winning. Just remember to put on the Spirit of God, blah blah. All of Romans is like, don't burn the city down, please. I'm begging you, don't do that.
I am requesting that you not.
And that's what's really funny, because people use Romans all the time. Specifically, I think it's in Romans 13, the whole line about like, not the render unto Caesar, the other one that's like make peace with your state, that whole thing.
Yeah.
The verses before that is the lives you will take are not worth the suffering you're going through. Because the Christians in Rome were like, well, what if we burn it down before they can? Paul's like, no, don't do that.
Peter was too busy dying on an upside down cross.
Quite literally fighting fire with fire. Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, like, you got to think about it. There's kind of this idea throughout history that Christians have just always, like, there's been persecutions, but the kind of idea is like they just like pray for their enemies, then die.
Yeah, no.
Brutal deaths. No. No, that's not. Sometimes, sure, like specifically, like with Bloody Mary in the English, there was a lot of pastors who did have that reputation, going to like burn at the stake of the peaceful prophet. Other than that, there was a lot of swords and
I think
and fighting.
One of my favorite examples of like kind of that, but just one of my favorite historical figures is Johannes Huss of Bohemia. And Bohemia was an early like proto-Protestant region in Europe. It's modern day Czechia, I guess.
When did that change?
What?
Well, I guess Czech Republic, but Czechia.
That was like the last couple of years.
Really?
Yeah. It was the Czech Republic, now it's Czechia.
Interesting.
But this figure, Johannes Huss, who was around in the late 1300s, early 1400s, he was an early sort of proto-Protestant leader who was against a lot of the, things like indulgences, and, kind of saw the Catholic Church moving towards this. He was basically like, this is not what Christ wanted. Let's reform a bit. And this was the early 1400s, and he led a rebellion, both spiritually and then he also invented mobile artillery. He was the first commanding officer of a military force to put cannons onto wagons. And what they would do was they would encounter like a French or a papal army, basically sit their cannons on a hill, fire them at the enemy army, and then while the army was moving to counter them with their foot soldiers and cavalry, they would move the cannons somewhere else. And the thing was, since they knew exactly where they had just fired the cannons from, they knew exactly where the enemy was going to be. So they would just fire the cannons at their last position. And they would just run around in circles doing this.
That's awesome.
And then in the early 1400s, you had the Conciliatory Movement within the Catholic Church, which was a series of councils where they basically got together and were like, all right, how do we address all these issues that are being brought up by these various priests and abbots and whatnot all throughout Europe? And one of the first people they invited to one of these was Johannes Huss. And they brought him in under the auspices of like, we're going to hear you out. We're going to understand what you have to say. We're going to discuss it. And then immediately upon his arrival, they had him arrested, tried for heresy, and executed.
Oh, fun.
Which led to basically all of the people who would have participated in the conciliatory movement on the more Reformation-minded side saying, perhaps I'm not going to go to Rome.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there was an attempt.
I
think this was 1413.
So hold on, that's interesting. So do you think that may have been one of the catalysts to the Protestant Catholic Wars? As Europe was being developed? Yeah,
absolutely.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think part of the reason that Bohemia and Prague were at the center of the early portion of the 30 Years' War was because they had this tradition of being very staunchly anti-Catholic. So when the Austrians tried to force them to be Catholic, obviously you have the second defenestration of Prague, the first one being less of a catalyst, the second one them throwing... I think that's my favorite thing, is they threw a bunch of Catholic counselors, members of the court, out a window, and the two stories that come out of it are the Catholics say, because all of them miraculously survived this fall from like a fourth floor window. Defenestration, for those who don't know, means to throw someone out a window. It's a great word. Fantastic.
That's a great word. Defenestration.
Yeah. It's a very niche word. Imagine dropping that in a conversation.
Oh, I do it regularly.
That's fantastic.
I like to drop words like defenestration into conversations.
Is it within
someone walks
context,
up to them? No, someone walks up to Aidan. They're like, "Are you the Skinwalker guy from TikTok?" And he's like, "Defenestration," and just keeps walking.
No.
Defenestration.
Walks into a room, defenestrates your counselors, refuses to elaborate, leaves. But no, so the story the Catholics told was as they were reaching the ground, angels flew in and grabbed them and cushioned their fall. And the Protestants had a much more mundane explanation, which was there was a pile of horse manure under the window, and they landed in that, and therefore, they didn't die. Who's to say which is true? I think it was probably the latter.
I was going to say, Occam would say as such.
That's so funny. I love that they got just like two different...
It's like...
apply that to a lot of stories.
The funny thing is, if you look at it and people are like, oh man, the media is so divided today, Fox News and CNN are just telling completely different stories. I wish we could go back to before it was like this. It's like, before it was like this, we were like, whew.
It is kind of funny, like, and I'm not one to care about modern politics at all, but it is funny to see people be like, I can't believe that the world's gotten to a point where people have their own agendas. It's like, yeah, we're definitely the first.
Yes.
Welcome to humanity.
Conflict has never existed before. I think one of my favorite ones might be people who tweet that Donald Trump was treated worse than any other president in U.S. history, and I'm like,
I think Lincoln might have something to chat about that.
Lincoln was shot. McKinley was shot. JFK was shot. Reagan was shot. Roosevelt was shot.
Yep.
Like, was it McKinley that was shot?
Yeah, McKinley was shot.
Which one died a month into office because of tuberculosis and made Theodore Roosevelt president?
That was McKinley. Yeah.
Was it McKinley?
Yeah, okay. because what happened is McKinley survived that day, and he recovered a few days later. He eventually died of gangrene.
Right.
After I think it was 3 weeks. So Roosevelt was like, all right, you're good. And whenever McKinley died, Roosevelt was on a bear hunting trip in Yosemite. and he was just vibing. And then a runner gives him the message like, hey, you're president now. He's like, what? Yeah, that was McKinley.
Most Teddy Roosevelt.
One of my favorite McKinley was just like screwed from the start. But one of my favorite things about him is that the Chinese actually, the Chinese government at the time wanted McKinley elected. So they sent a telegram to the United States, basically to the McKinley campaign. And what they wanted to say was, we pray for McKinley's election. But in a very real case of getting L and R mixed up, that's not what the message said. This is not a joke about Chinese accents. This is the Chinese actually sent a message to the McKinley campaign saying, we pray for McKinley's erection. Which
that's pretty great.
Like,
still could be, like, if you're looking at it innocently, it's like, oh yes, erection.
Yeah, we hope that you have we hope you are fertile and bear many children.
One in American politics were thinking that.
No.
In American politics.
My favorite piece of factoid about American politics, as of right now, it changes over time, but the favorite is the bill on the day that the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Oh, for the party?
Yes.
It's like 54 jars of whiskey. And
yeah.
The founding fathers got
5 barrels of
absolutely
wine.
Just blitzed that night.
They got blitzed all the time, but that in particular was...
The more I learned about the founding fathers, the more I liked them just as people.
Yeah. They would be fun to vibe with.
Yeah, they would
be fun to vibe with. I was reading about the First Continental Congress when they really didn't get much done, but they were there for 8 months.
You mean Congress?
Yeah, pretty much. Only back then there wasn't air conditioning, so everyone was getting upset. So Thomas Jefferson had on the side of his sketches for stuff. And then he apparently just kept writing in the margin I hate it, or whatever. And the funniest is Benjamin Franklin just started writing sex jokes on his ledger.
On the
official stuff.
These were literally a bunch of Harvard frat boys. That's the funny part. Is a bunch of them actually went to Harvard.
Best personality of the entire revolution was Benjamin Franklin, who said, "Have fun with that, guys," and went off to Paris and just became the peaceful version of Genghis Khan.
Yes.
Approximately one in every 200 Parisians is related to Ben Franklin.
Hey, there is accounts that say the reason that Lafayette gave Americans support is because Benjamin Franklin seduced the women near him and managed to win favor that way. So there's a solid chance that Benjamin Franklin's game single-handedly created the United States.
And let's think about this for a second. He was in his 70s at that point.
Oh yeah,
he was not a young man,
dude. He was.
But he was just spitting game like no tomorrow, dude.
There's some interesting letters. I haven't verified these personally. I haven't gone and looked to see if they're forgeries or not. But apparently there's some interesting letters between George Washington and some of the other founding fathers about Thomas Jefferson and his involvement with the Freemasons and the Illuminati, and how Washington was concerned that Jefferson being more of an Illuminati type might infect the ideology of American Freemasonry.
Yeah,
and you're just like,
Mr. Freemason? Yeah, why don't you explain that one, Mr. Mason, man?
It's not much to explain. Pay no attention to the Templar flag behind me. That's not there.
You're literally a super villain.
This is his backstory.
I bring it up to people all the time. I'm like, have you ever looked at like a Freemason square and compass and then the Assassin's Creed logo?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I know. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. You're sending mixed signals here, but
yeah.
How many logos are specifically a triangle with some representation in the middle of them? A few I can think of.
Well, that's the other one. Is like, yes, the Freemasons have the all-seeing eye, but they had it first, and then the Illuminati adopted it. So
I like how your argument is like, yeah, we're the Illuminati, but we made them.
I thought that was Sauron.
What?
I thought that was Sauron.
No, Sauron is his own thing. I don't know.
Don't
Maybe
spoil it
Tolkien
for
was
him.
making another point. He was Catholic.
Yeah, that would be great. Is in the middle of all this conversation talk, Aidan's just over there like, man, these guys really like Lord of the Rings. Just oblivious.
I prefer Frodo, but I guess that's okay.
I guess you was a cool villain.
Was Aragorn York right or Scottish right?
The American
would Aragorn have been a good Freemason? That's our next video.
That'd be a great question. I want to know the answer to that one.
But yeah, so the all-seeing eye was a Freemason symbol before it was an Illuminati symbol. And what kind of happened was the Illuminati were made up largely of Freemasons, but it wasn't like the other. A lot of people think it's the other way around. That like the Freemasons are run by the Illuminati, and it's more that the Bavarian Illuminati were a group of Freemasons who branched off and were kind of doing their own thing, and they adopted a lot of Freemason symbols and the same like structure in terms of having your entered apprentice and then your fellow craft and your master, and all of that. And of course, all of this is based on medieval masonry, which is there's a whole bunch of stuff here.
Have we done a video on like actual Illuminati?
Not yet.
We should.
I'm not sure exactly how much I'm allowed to say.
Oh, fair. Yeah. You
Get him out. Get him. There he is. Said it. Get him, everyone.
Except the quiet part out loud.
You straight up said we should do a video on the Illuminati, and Aidan replied, "I don't know how much I'm allowed to say." That man is evil.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
I am not a member of the Illuminati. I like how today I've had to say I'm not a member of the Illuminati. I'm not a Fed. I wasn't there on January 6th.
This guy,
I'm not a Nephilim.
This man is
I'm a pioneer.
Mr. CIA right now.
I'm a man. I'm an American. I'm a patriot. I'm a human. This is what humans look like. 1776 will commence again.
Aidan is like glowing right now. I tell you what.
This one or this one with the hair?
The hair, yeah.
Yeah.
The evil. God. Okay, so it's now Aidan and evil Aidan from here on out. The one who can't,
it's
the
appropriate.
one who, quote unquote, doesn't know how much he's allowed to say about the real Illuminati.
Listen, I have a Freemason meeting on my birthday in 2 weeks. I will bring it up then.
There you go.
I'll be like, hey
guys, how
the
much
people
want
to know?
Oh, he's just gonna walk in and be like, "They're on to us."
Yes, worshipful master. I would like to know how much I can tell the people.
Hey, all you people! Hey, all you people! Won't you listen to me?
Oh my god! I'm gonna need to make myself a shirt that says "I am not a Fed." Illuminati, a Templar.
Could you imagine that guy walking up to like a gun meet and he's got a shirt on? It's like, "I'm not a Fed. Don't ask. I'm definitely not. Don't worry."
Has a crew cut, sunglass, like aviators, wearing a very tight fitting T-shirt, obviously in peak shape. Has a weird bulge in his right pocket. Like,
Did you see those
shirt says "I'm not a Fed."
Did you see those pictures of the second January 6th thing that they tried to do? Yeah,
it's just a bunch of dudes who are obviously FBI.
Fresh out of police academy. Not even trying. They all were wearing matching cargo shorts.
I'm just imagining.
You can see the handguns in their pockets.
Yeah, and they're like, "Man, I'm just here because I hate The government, yo, diggity dog.
Let's go, Brendan.
I'm just imagining a take on
let's
the.
go, Brandon.
I'm imagining a take on the Steve Buscemi meme. It's just like one of the night vision like things, and just a bone stock AR, and the guy's going, "How do you do, fellow like boot boys?"
You can't say that word on YouTube.
Oh, you can't?
No.
How do you do, fellow redacted?
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been redacted. That needs to go on a shirt.
Yeah,
that one's going on a mug too.
I did see a girl. I'm not going to say who because I think she was being legitimate. But she tweeted just out of nowhere, like, I think guys who wear kit are so hot and like pose with their rifles and stuff. Send me a picture of yourself like that and your favorite Ted Kaczynski quote. Like, she is like, okay, sir, whatever you say, officer. My word.
I like the one that's like, I'm new here, and it's a obviously Photoshop picture of this really attractive girl with like an SKS, and everyone's like, nice try, FBI.
Wait, I'm loving the quote from Iz here. It's like, hi, yes, how much of this can I tell the milk cult my friend and I started?
The milk cult.
We have T-shirts now for Wendigo milk.
Yeah, we do. We have
the Wendigo milk.
Oh
man.
yeah, that's right. Those are the shirts we got into the fight over.
Yeah.
On Twitter. I remember that.
Hang on a second.
That was
I missed that one.
Oh, we had a whole argument on Twitter about our shirts where we were just blatantly lying about them.
And you know what? Come to think of it, you brought up the Illuminati again there too. I think you've been trying to confess something for like months now.
No, he's just toying.
I also have been accused several times this week of being a skinwalker. So just in the vein of me denying things tonight, I'm not a skinwalker.
You should just put on your LinkedIn, I am not a Fed, I am not in the Illuminati, I'm not a skinwalker. Wait, no, this is the whole... This is basically the Aidan version of... out of context, Biden confirms he is not the Wendigo.
Oh my god. Good lord.
We're at 57 viewers now, by the way.
Oh boy.
What are you doing here
for us?
Just watching Aidan get outed as being like Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand man, apparently.
Okay!
News, apparently.
But while we're on that topic, ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself.
Of all the things that aren't allowed on YouTube,
you're allowed to say that,
but you can't. You can't say redacted.
Can we get an Epstein did not kill himself chain in the chat?
Yes,
we need.
That's
say it. I'm not gonna say.
I'm actually working on something in proximity to that for a video because you can't.
What does that mean?
Dive in. Well, okay. Well, I'm doing a video about John McAfee.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Who also did not kill himself.
Also did not kill himself, right? That's what I meant by in proximity to that. Because you can't just go on there and be like, yeah, so these are the three Wall Street guys who also own the same island Epstein was at. As a matter of fact, here's one of them leaving their apartment the night of blah, blah, blah. So
proactively, I'm also going to deny that I killed myself.
Wait,
I did.
Oh, yes.
I did not kill myself in the future.
Actually,
if I kill myself, no, I didn't.
Actually, I'm not on my channel right now. I'm on your guys' channel. So the names of the people in Hillary's Black Book are as follows, starting with A.
Yeah, cut the feed.
Oh my god, this is getting off the rails. You have seen the trailers for Antlers, right?
Yes.
So you've seen the monster.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Very pumped.
How do you feel about them going the direction they did?
Going the distance?
With the Wendigo itself. Are you plugging your merch on my channel right now?
No. Are you talking... I know what you're getting at. You're getting at it not being accurate.
Yeah.
I'm pointing at, you're talking to the guy who built his brand around the antler adaptation of the Wendigo specifically.
Wait,
this is the next Twitter beef, is us arguing over Antlers.
Wait, Wait, why don't we have
Yes.
plushies of us? That's awesome.
What?
Why don't we have plushies of us? That's awesome.
Because we're about a year and a half behind him
Cute.
Yeah.
in terms of like
That's
channel
fair.
growth.
Yeah, that's fair.
If we had plushies for ourselves already, I would feel like we were industry plants. I am not an industry plant.
Billie Eilish, eat your heart out.
Go through this and
Aidan
cut out
keeps
every time I've
walking
denied something
himself.
tonight, and just and we can make our own version of the Alex Jones clip, but it's just me saying I'm not stuff.
Oh, we kind of have to, yeah.
You keep walking yourself into
I
these.
know.
You're
He
just
does.
like,
I have
you know what's funny?
I have a
Industry
terrible-
plants,
I have a
not
terrible
dogs,
sense of
no.
direction.
Right, guys?
Uh,
Right, boys?
How do you do, fellow authentic YouTubers?
How do you do, fellow influencers?
The day I can legitimately be described as an influencer is going to be a sad day.
Yeah. What's that like?
Well, you can't even put on the shirt "I'm not an influencer" because that's just a lie.
Yeah.
The
Speaking
fact-
of which,
just
we
gonna
are
walk
sponsored by nobody right now.
Speaking of industry plant, these are our sponsors. Here's a prepaid ad or pre-made ad that's going to
Yeah, we should. Don't make fun of the pre-made ads. Some people have to do those to make a living.
I know. It's amazing.
Imagine shooting an ad and then sending it to somebody for approval instead of just saying whatever you want.
If
on
we're
your
ever
show.
doing pre-made ads, we're doing them internet historian style.
I'm just making fun of Isaiah because I know he was
No,
complaining.
I know.
He was complaining. You were saying in one of your tweets or a YouTube thing, you were like, just waiting on this ad to get approved so I can post the video.
Yeah, that does happen a lot.
Oh, that sounds so.
That
like,
would drive me
tedious, though.
insane.
Yeah.
I knew what you were doing the whole time. I just
I can see the rage.
I appreciate
boiling in me.
it. Because believe it or not, this is how I am with all of my friends.
You're
He's
welcome,
actually
Evil
being
Aidan.
tame with you right now.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
what he's about.
I am not a good person. That's going at the end of the clip.
I'm not Illuminati. I'm not a good person.
It's like I'm not this, but I am not a good person. No, you're a good dude. Don't worry, you're fine. Just so you know, it is 8:02.
Oh boy, I guess that means we do have to go to super chats, doesn't it?
Well, we can talk, and then once we get
that's true.
super
Once we
chats-
actually get super chat,
Yeah.
I think we did get one at one point though.
Yeah, we
So you should
did.
check
It
for
was
that.
somebody quoting Wendigoon.
Okay.
It was essential. Oh, here it is. It's from Ronald Hughes for $5.
Oh, okay.
Thank
That
you
makes
very much.
sense.
Hey,
So-
Reynolds, hey man.
He's quoting saying, "An unhinged rant about ocean monsters and why I hate the ocean. I hate it so much it hurts. We have to get rid of it." Unquote Wendigoon.
That's what the chapter name.
That was the chapter name in my last video. Yeah, because I hate it.
What?
Is said this isn't a super chat, but she said next set of donation goals ends in a plush of Mattis in the maid costume.
Oh no.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
so
We didn't set up.
excited.
We
Explain
didn't
that
set
to
up
me.
$250
I saw it.
and $500 donation goals tonight.
Did we set up any?
Well, they're the same from last week for the two goals that they didn't hit.
Oh, right.
But yeah.
I saw a picture of you in a maid costume with no context. What was that about?
You don't need context.
So.
Okay.
It was a donation goal
see,
from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, people wanted to see me in a maid costume, so they somehow scrounged together $500 for it, which I have to split with him, and he didn't have to wear the maid costume.
I'm a maid. Well, but we didn't say we had to wear the maid
Yeah, I
costume.
know.
Either. If I had to wear it, it would have been like $15,000. No, I'm just kidding. I'm amazed that you put the frosted tips at only $250.
I'm gonna be honest, I did not expect them to hit that.
Really?
No, not even a little bit.
We've hit that from Glass alone, like
That's
two
true.
different nights in a row. Which
Yeah.
thank you again, Glass. But yeah,
Next super chat to suggest something is to choose the next $250 goal.
that's a
Not
dangerous
actually, that's
game.
a dangerous game.
That's a dangerous game.
No, but let's see. We do have to do the Wendigo milk stand still.
Yeah, we just haven't had time.
Yeah, I mean, I move
A
into
what?
We're a Wendigo milk stand.
the look of genuine concern you had on your face.
You just rolled over that one way too easy.
So
It's like, oh, do you remember the milk stand?
yeah, so we've got to set up a milk stand.
A
In
Wendigo
Phoenixville.
milk stand.
Are
And
you guys okay?
no,
To be
not
clear,
really.
it's been a long month.
You know, it is kind of funny. Like coming on one podcast a while back, coming on this one, because like we kind of talk about some stuff, and they're just like, yeah, we got the big milk stand coming up. Gotta.
I got to get a couple samples of the Wendigo Milkman shirt.
Yeah.
For when we do that.
Yeah, we do.
So we can wear them. It's just going to be a cardboard sign that we're going to spray paint Wendigo milk $5 on.
Is it just going to be milk?
I think we might do like probably strawberry milk or something. I don't know.
Why strawberry?
Chocolate milk. I don't know.
What? I'm so confused.
So real quick for those who may be watching
Oh,
and
it's
are not
Glass.
familiar with it. Yeah, this is Glass. We're at 60 viewers right now, by the way.
Oh.
Just so whoever may not be familiar with it, right now we do super chats. We answer all super chats that aren't redacted.
We have had a couple redacted super chats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your mom is being very adamant that he is not a maid.
I am not a maid.
But yes, so if you want to ask a question or make a comment or anything like that, we will say basically all super chats.
Yeah, we will acknowledge it.
The reason we do that is because it's a lot easier to follow the super chats because they're easy to see.
Yeah,
compared to the
they
rest
pop
of the
up
chat.
and they actually stick there for a little while on our end of things.
So speaking of glass water for $50, thank you very much.
Thank
By the
you,
way,
Glass.
what are the donation goals for this evening?
I gotta make some stuff up on the fly. Hold on.
Okay, that's fine. I'll read her thing
Yeah,
and then we'll discuss
sounds
it.
good.
You do that, and then Isaiah and I can have a wonderful conversation. Glass! God damn you, this is amazing.
What'd she say?
She said, do you think that God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he has created?
That's a Spy Kids quote.
Correct. And it's fantastic.
And
And that's why I was so happy about it. Also,
that
is
in
what
reference to Aidan
what
in
was
the maid outfit?
probably is what was the maid or the plush idea that I missed? I thought I only saw the one of yours.
Let's see.
Reynold Hughes said for $5. Thank you very much. Where are you getting the Wendigo milk? And should we be concerned? No, we'll bring blue snow shovels. We'll be fine.
Yeah, no, you should absolutely be concerned. I feel like someone should do something about this.
Nope.
Sounds like a
Nope.
bad idea.
Nope. We will acquire, and we will.
Anytime,
survive.
bro. Listen. Anytime you're about to do anything, just think about how it will read on a headline. Okay. How is this possibly going to read?
Man successfully retrieves 3 gallons of Wendigo milk, leaving neighbors and community members stunned.
Wendigo milk implies the existence of. All right, I'll stop.
Islong for $5 says, I have no questions, but now I highly desire the plushies. Well, it looks like we need
I guess
to
we
make
just
some
gotta
plushies.
make the plushies now.
I kind of want a plushie of us.
Honestly,
I want a
like,
plushie.
You guys will probably get there in decent time.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I want to get to plushie.
The
level.
plushies really aren't that like lucrative.
But it's
like,
fun to have.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like they're not an unachievable thing. I definitely think you guys will get to it.
I've got
Go
one.
ahead.
So obviously we're furnishing the new studio.
Yes.
So 250 goal. They get to choose one poster that goes on the wall.
Yeah. That's great. I
Yeah,
like that.
that'll be our
Bro,
250.
you are-
Because that's the
dude,
one they're gonna
that is
hit
a-
if they're gonna hit one.
Yep.
Man, that is a dangerous game.
It doesn't necessarily
But-
have to be in the shot. It just has to be in the studio,
Fair.
which is also my guest bedroom. I will explain nothing to anybody.
It is still a dangerous game to play.
It's
I
gonna
think-
be like Sacha Baron Cohen and the Borat Tankini.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like what is it called? Like My Little Pony or something.
That would be worse.
Yeah, exactly.
I would
That would be
give
worse.
you. Look, I'm about to go donate $250 just so you don't have the privilege of having Sacha Baron Cohen up there. I'm gonna find like the weirdest anime hentai whatever.
Oh.
And it's not gonna be cute at all. It's gonna be the worst I can find.
What did you expect?
It's gonna
when
be
you said
Isaiah's head photoshopped onto Sacha Baron Cohen in the tank.
Ooh.
No, it's going to be Isaiah's head
man.
photoshopped onto everybody in the Dune poster.
Wendigoon. Yes.
Oh, now I want that. No
I
matter
like that. What to do?
no matter
That's
what they end
pretty
up
good.
doing, no matter what they end up doing, we're getting a Wendigoon poster
yeah,
put
we-
up there. Absolutely.
That's
Okay,
pretty good. I dig that.
I think that would be fun.
Gotta be fast on your feet with these things.
Nicholas Jaramillo for $10, thank you very much, says, There was a few happy surprises that came in the last few days, like Local 58 and the Mandela catalog. Is there anything that really caught your attention this month? I assume this is for you, Isaiah?
Yeah, so Halloween's been fantastic for stuff like that, for uploads. The new Mandela catalog upload was awesome, and it also proved my theory right that I made the video about, so I'm super pumped about it. The new Mandela was awesome. The new Local 58's awesome, especially because the Local 58's incorporating more ARG elements like the website and phone number. So I feel like it's going to become much more expansive.
Mm-hmm.
But everything's moving in a good direction. Honestly, everything that I saw come out was a banger. Like all the YouTubers really brought it home for Halloween this year. I was so proud of everybody. It was a fun time.
Except for us.
Yeah, shut up. Yes, you did. This is great. This is still Halloween. Stop talking.
It is still. It is no longer Samhain. It was
true.
up until about 2 hours ago. That is the Irish word for November, so I guess it is still Samhain.
Fair.
This is my birth month. I'm a Scorpio.
Reginald Hughes for $5
What is that?
says, side note,
Oh, good lord.
during the intro, only Wendigoon's mic was hot, just as an FYI, with a face.
Wendigoon out of context. This is the one thing I told you to make sure you had hands.
There was no levels.
What?
That's true.
What did I do? Oh.
Yeah, your mic was hot. We can probably cut that out.
Before the upload,
Yeah, before the upload.
But,
of
yeah,
course.
there were no levels, so I don't know how that
it
happened.
definitely was not showing on our end. Streamlabs. If we got to sue
We'll look into it
Streamlabs.
next time. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I don't think
no,
anything was said.
What's up?
I don't think anything.
I don't say anything productive at all anyway, so whatever.
I don't think anything
I'm just
problematic was said.
$5 from Mika Limbs. Let me make sure. Yeah, I didn't miss anything. You're sent back in time and have to live out the rest of your life there. When do you go? Great question. Also, before we answer that, just because it's long sentence and it's kind of unrelated, it's for $5. Thank you. Says, "Now you boys are getting a Care Bears poster for that office." So,
Oh boy.
we expected anything less.
I'll put out another Twitter poll and let people decide.
Yeah.
I bet I can find a not safe for work Care Bears poster.
Oh my
I'll look hard enough.
Please don't.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like my back before I had any followers on TikTok. I had a video about somebody made something that was like math is this color, green is this color, and I made a video where I was like, the Trump administration actually made a rule about this, standardizing what color each subject was. If you want to learn more, look up Betsy DeVos Rule 34, which might be the worst thing I've ever said.
That's pretty good. That's evil.
It unfortunately did not get much traction. I felt that was an underrated joke.
That's quality content. Thank you for your service on that.
Thank you. What was the question? Was if we go back in time anywhere?
Yeah, go back in time and you have to live the rest of your life there. Where would it be?
Live the rest of my life there.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay.
And also, assuming you can't game it, I can't be like, well, 1 hour ago, and just
Yeah, exactly. I think I would probably. That's a hard one. I'd probably pick 300s Roman Britain.
Interesting.
Just fairly clean, fairly safe, prosperous, like London in like 350 AD.
Okay. Isaiah, what about you?
Did you say London in 350 AD?
I don't know. I picked a Roman city in Britain.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I want to be a cowboy.
That's fair.
1800s. I want to be a cowboy and ride a horse and be a marshal in a small town that doesn't have a name. That's what I want. That's what I want to do now, much less if I could go back in time.
Yeah.
Well, if you've seen the show Westworld.
Can I move to the Old West
Yeah.
and simply be a cowboy?
That sounds like fun.
Bro, I just want to wear a duster coat and shoot a 6-shooter, man, I'll tell you what.
When
you
I
can
was,
still do that in most of
true.
the West and South.
Boy, I tell you what, now, but last year, get out of here, get your dusty coat, get that down.
When I was a junior, when we were juniors in college, Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, and I I just remember the girl I was dating at the time being so frustrated with me because she'd be like, "Hey, do you want to come over and watch a movie?" And I'd be like, "Sorry, babe, I'm pretending to be a cowboy right now. It's very important." I put off dinner. I put off movies. Like, I put off parties. I was just like, "Sorry, I'm too busy robbing a train." Like,
I love it.
I am wrestling some cattle right now.
That game for weeks, and every time my girlfriend would text me and be like, "What are you doing?" I would send this little picture of Pepe the Frog, but it's like the little kid Pepe with the cowboy hat, and he's smiling and be like, and just say, "I'm being a cowboy," and that's all I do. And then
you can't see it, but on our stream, for Discord, no, you can't.
Yeah, it was flashing back and forth between this frame and this frame. Wait, can you do that again? I'm gonna take a video of that so we can send it to you.
If it even, it doesn't always do it.
Let's hope it does.
There we go. It's going.
Oh, I can't
keep
take a
doing it.
video
Keep it up.
I can't take a video.
You can't take a video. You
That's a
fool.
workout. I'll tell you what. My word.
It's so funny.
Also, real quick, just for $100, Glass.
Oh, good lord!
She says, "Bring me more followers. I demand sacrifices now that I have so many followers from your little cult." I think we're
all right. First of all, it's a rather sizable cult.
Yeah, it's not doing too bad. I think we're relatively close to.
I cannot imagine that we have not hit it at this point.
250.
That's 150.
150 plus 5, so
we're getting
60, 70, 80.
We are going to have to buy a poster
90.
for the studio.
We're at 190.
Okay. We're going to have to buy a poster. We're probably going to have to buy a poster for the studio. I'm just accepting that.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Whew. Yeah, it's, oh, God.
How you doing there, Illuminati man?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. I'm not sorry you broke your elbow.
Oh,
God. All right. We have 15 minutes of show left.
Why do you seem so defeated?
Like, shoot it out.
Because I'm currently struggling.
This is hilarious because every time I watch anything of yours, you're like, actually, if you look at the pre-colonial aerodactyl fossils and blah, 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 and now you're like, I can't use the words to speak.
Well, I got my parents with it earlier today. My stepdad, just out of the living room, is like, "Hey, Aidan, what was the cause of the Protestant Reformation?" And I actually brought up the Johannes Huss thing. I was like, well, the Catholic Church really dropped the ball in the Conciliatory Movement in the early 1400s when they invited Johannes Huss, the leader of a Protestant revolution, to come and speak, and then had him executed for heresy. And then Christian's like, okay, I'm going to see if this YouTube video agrees with me. And it did not.
Oh, no?
No, it just started with Martin Luther, and I was like, well, you got to go further than that. You're forgetting about John Wycliffe. Like,
I'm sorry, who?
John Wycliffe.
Sounds like a man to be reckoned with.
John
We
Wycliffe.
would we would also shoot
John Wick.
you for
Oh,
that
okay.
down here. Everyone locally says Wycliffe.
Well, that's wrong.
Yeah, well, you know, Appalachian
Not
probably
how
is
it's
either, but that still makes
I
you
got
an
yelled at.
outsider.
I got
Don't
yelled
matter.
at for the blue Fugits in Kentucky, the inbred family whose skin turned blue. I pronounced it Fugate because that's just how
Nope.
in northern American English that is just how that word would be pronounced.
I know several Fugits personally.
Yeah, so to be fair, I do spend a lot more time researching how to properly pronounce things in Irish and Welsh than I do Appalachian.
Fair. You also did not grow up below the Mason-Dixon line. So.
Thank you for saying Appalachian just then. I just noticed that. Thank you.
Yeah, I fixed it for you.
Thank you. I appreciate
I don't
it.
want to be
Makes me
offended.
feel a lot better. I feel more at home right now.
I am not
Honestly,
an Appalachian.
I'm not kidding. That was the litmus test. It was like, how do they pronounce the mountains?
That is amazing. Also,
Phase 1.
Mr. Destro for $2 says, be sure to tune in for the after jam session. Folks.
Oh yes, the jam session.
Thank you
is
for
always a
plugging
great
us.
time. Thank you.
That was fantastic.
That's over on Twitch. It's actually the same link if you got here via Streamlabs.
Yeah, that's when we will be using these baby boys to play a little music
Yes, that's true.
on Twitch. And not break things like I just did.
Something was loud.
I just tapped your guitar. It was a love tap.
Don't touch me. Don't! I will end you.
I'm not going to make the joke.
I'm going to make the Blood Eagle look like a fucking walk in the park.
It's a shame I don't know what that is.
So this is fun on topic subject matter. So the Blood Eagle is a Viking sacrifice tactic that he's chewing.
No, I'm listening.
No, on our screen you're just going...
Oh, it's just the vibration.
Yeah.
I'm sure now I have chocolate.
He's got those
Thank you
good
for reminding me.
vibrations.
Should learn that song.
Yeah, anyway, so the Blood Eagle was something that the Vikings would do to prisoners of war and basically people who were sentenced to death, where it was kind of I don't know the right word for it really, but in order to get into Valhalla in Scandinavian culture, you had to die an honorable death in combat, or have been a particularly distinguished warrior in life and just have been unfortunate enough to not die in combat. But it was believed that like if you were a true Viking, you would die in battle. And then you could go to Valhalla, where you would become one of the Ironjar, and then at Ragnarok you would fight against the forces of Loki and all that. It's a lot to get into.
Yep,
But so the Blood Eagle was something they would do to prisoners of war to give them a chance to reach Valhalla, and he's chewing again. Where what they would do was they would take an axe and they would hack open your ribs.
Mm-hmm.
They would strap you down so you were like this,
Mm-hmm.
and they would hack open your ribs with an axe. They would pull them open from behind, and they would take out your lungs and put them on your shoulders so that you looked, and they would do this while you were alive, by the way. They would not kill you first. This was all while you were alive. And if you screamed or passed out from the pain, you didn't get to go to Valhalla. But if you made it through the whole thing and didn't scream or pass out, you just died, then you could get into Valhalla.
And remind me again why they would do this to people?
It was
metal as
seen as a
fuck.
blessing.
it is really metal, that's why.
Do you think that's in? So I actually didn't know that was the purpose of the Blood Eagle, to give enemies a chance to get into Valhalla. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was one possibility.
So here's a question, right? So throughout history, tactics like that have been used. I mean, you know this better than I do. Tactics like that have been used in order to indoctrinate armies to get what you want.
Mhm.
Essentially saying either God wills this or this is your only way to get into heaven. Was there any element of that in Viking tradition originally, or did they just all come to that same conclusion?
So with Vikings it's complicated because it was a relatively small population placed across a very large area in terms of proportions, and they all developed a very similar pantheon. You'll actually catch some of this in our video on the origins of the Germanic cultures coming out on Tuesday. But all the Germanic cultures have a similar pantheon of gods. They're not necessarily the same. For example, Wodenad and Odin are not necessarily the same. They're very similar. Probably came from the same Proto-Indo-European god, but they're not exactly the same. But they are mirrors of one another in North Germanic and West Germanic culture. So they kind of developed this warrior culture early on, is what it seems like, when they were still Proto-Germanic, not Norse, Western, and Eastern German yet. So I mean, the short answer to the question is that that probably did develop prior to Vikings and Germans and the Goths all becoming their own separate groups. But the Norse version of it was considerably more focused on death and battle and had a much more defined pantheon of gods. They also were very literate. They were unusually literate for a European era, or a medieval European society. They had a literacy rate of about 50%, whereas, even today, the literacy rate in the United States, I don't think is over 75%.
Really?
It's like 75 or 80. It's actually pretty low.
Wow.
And
What a
in
shame.
Scandinavian countries, it's like 98, 99%. Almost nobody can't read or write in those places. To be fair, the population in Scandinavia is much more centered in the urban centers than it is the rural areas.
And also much lower overall.
Yeah, with the United States, half the population is in rural areas. That's very unusual. That's not how Europe is at all.
Yeah.
Europe, the population is very much centered in the cities, and then you have small urban or rural populations.
And they're also much smaller populations and much more homogenous populations.
Yeah, whereas with the U.S., you just have like rural expanse of people who live out in the mountains,
the best part
and the
about
plains.
Did
Did that answer the question?
Yes, that was very good.
Okay.
By the way,
Very thorough. I enjoyed that.
from Sumadre,
my
putting
mom.
us over the 250 limit, so we will be getting that poster.
When will the Lorelai open an online store? She's been pushing for this.
Do we not technically have one?
We do, but she means like with our own inventory and products that we retail, not. She means a retail store, not a.
Got it. Well, that
which we can certainly do. I just have to actually decide what will be in it, and then I have to build it. There is going to be a Lore Lodge website. That is my big goal for the next year. Also, if you want to plug that in, I have a charging cable somewhere down here. That is one of our goals for the next year, is to get an actual website up and running where we'll have all of our content will also be there, and it would have a direct subscription service, so not necessarily through Patreon or whatever. And one of the other things we want to do eventually is bring on other smaller creators who want to do this kind of thing but don't have access to a large audience, so that we can bring on people who are basically doing what we were doing a few months ago.
Yep.
Who only have a small number of followers, and help them get up to that point by doing content for our channel that would then they would make the lion's share of the money off their videos, but we would take a small percentage
because we're providing
an audience,
essentially giving people a jump start.
Basically, we're going to start an online TV channel instead of just having our one.
Yeah, that's the idea anyway. Because if we had that, life would have been. I mean, we'd already be further than we are now.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely could give people a jump start.
And it's definitely not a money laundering scheme.
No, not at all.
I am not laundering money.
It's not a pyramid scheme. It's all good. It's all legal. As far as we know, we haven't looked into it yet because we're not even anywhere near starting it yet.
Yeah, no. But that's the goal eventually, is to turn this into an actual business.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I thought we had another question in there somewhere.
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep. Unless, it was just,
what was it saying?
It was is long for $5 saying, yes, jam time, the thing I live for
yes,
so very
jam
much.
Time is coming soon. 3 minutes from now.
Yes.
Not 3 minutes from now. 3 minutes from now is the end of this show.
Yes.
And then Aidan and I will drink water, quickly hype each other up from the depths of the depression that being not on the show causes. This is the only thing I look forward to each week. I have no will to live.
Yep. Speaking of glasses of water, this is not an actual plug, but I just got this. I have been avoiding plastic bottles for a while. I actually just got this today. It's like a glass. It's a glass workout shaker bottle, and I just love it so much. I can't remember the name of the company.
Do you work out?
That looks like
I haven't done it in a while. I'm trying to get back into
Remember when we were supposed to have the Lift Lodge?
the Lift Lodge.
Yeah.
That was before I moved in with people who watch Red Zone every weekend, and we get wings and just So
all right, we're getting to the end of the program here, so I'm sure everybody here knows who you are already, but if you want to plug yourself,
just in case.
I am Isaiah. Yep. No. I'm Wendigoon. I do spooky stuff on YouTube. And yeah.
All right.
That's who I be.
That's who he is.
Love it.
You also have a gaming channel, right?
I am really thankful that you guys. Oh yes, I do actually have a gaming channel that I said I'd play Subnautica on. If it got to 100,000.
I saw that earlier today on Twitter. I was gonna nudge you really quick.
So I have played Subnautica before, but what I did is, whenever I had to go down, I'd close my eyes and wait till I heard the ship hit the bottom.
I don't know anything about this
once
game.
you hit the bottom, yeah, well, it's an underwater like submarine exploration game. So if I had to go down, I just bonk, and after I hit the ground, I would look and be like, and I'm just walking on the ground now. There's no
Just
ocean.
pretending
There's
you're not in the
definitely no
water.
ocean,
So yeah, so this is
I'm just
exactly
pretending I'm not in the
what you
water.
should want to play.
I love how like when I did the forest,
Right.
I was struggling because I am terrified of caves. And like you're just having the same issue, but it's water.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was.
You should if you're terrified of caves. There's this excellent video on YouTube called "Call of the Depth" or "Call of the Deep," one of the two, about the anatomy of caves and the worst stories about them that make them scary. I'm not even afraid of caves, and it got to me. So you should try that sometime.
Have you seen the video of the? I think it's a cave or it's an abandoned mine. And I think it's Nevada, but it's the one where the guy goes in and he like looks back to show you the entrance, and then he turns back around and there's a bunch of chains swinging.
Yes.
And he's like alone. He's alone in that cave, and his content that he posts before that isn't like at all paranormal or like spooky. Mm-hmm. It's just him in these mines, like talking about it. He's clearly very knowledgeable about and then you just have this one random paranormal video in there, and you're like, "What happened here?" Like,
yeah.
He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna leave this cave. And he turns around and just exits.
That's great.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and we're done. That concludes today's tour. Thank you all for coming.
Exactly.
out.
Like, it's stuff like that I'm like, all right, if that's, there's the possibility that it's fake and he had a buddy in there with him or whatever,
right.
Or that he cut something. But like, if it's not, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, what's in there with him? Because even if it's not a Wendigo, like, what if you got, like, a tribe of, feral cannibal people living in the cave? Like, that's not better.
There's your demon, your poltergeist.
Yeah, speaking of things
swinging
swinging in the background.
One of the things, I don't really like the Warrens, the paranormal investigators, for a lot of reasons. One thing they said that I do agree with is that ghosts I don't believe in ghosts, like as in random souls walking around. One thing they said is if something tells you that it's a little girl who lived there and it just wants to be your friend and stick around,
No.
it's not a little girl. That's a demon. Don't mess with that. So anytime I see something like that where they're like, "Oh, it's just a ghost who wants to play and swing the chains around," I'm like, "Nope, get out of there right now.
Leave. Goodbye."
Just swinging chains alone should be enough to be like,
unless you're Rihanna.
There are people.
She had that song from like a decade and a half ago where she said, "Chains and whips excite me."
Oh yeah. Wow, that was
a niche reference.
Yeah.
That's something some of our audience wasn't born for.
Aiden got a few gray hairs in his beard on that one. That's how you
clearly, yeah.
I should dye the hair gray.
Yeah, you should go platinum.
My mom got me purple shampoo today. Apparently, that's something you need to put in your hair after you dye it.
Yep. Yeah, it keeps the I was gonna say the flavor.
The Colonel's recipe. But,
man, what are you two doing?
Okay, listen.
Your hair's got that flavor.
Thanks for coming on the show. We gotta hop off.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Next time we'll actually plan for it.
No, we won't.
This was my fault. I understand, but I had a fantastic time and I enjoyed it.
Next time we'll talk about like demons or something that we can really dig into.
Yeah, all right, that works. Perfect.
We can do a video on demons.
We should.
We'll do a video on demons.
I'm just saying we should.
We got to get ready for the Yule Lads video. The Yule Lads video is going to be fun.
I'm so excited.
But yeah, all right. Thanks so much for hopping on.
Yeah, thank you, dude.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to hop off and go to Twitch in about 15 minutes. So join us there if you would like to be part of Lorelai's Jam Time. What can we call that? What's a pun for that?
The Listen Lodge?
The Listen Lodge. The Band Bungalow.
The Audio Abode.
The Harmony House.
The Music Mansion.
That's good. The Jam Jodge.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. The Skinwalker Sonata. The Skinwalker Sonata.
There you go.
There we go.
Sonata.
That's our next.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.